Auto safety regulators opening up an investigation into nearly 26,000 Ford.
You trusted the name, you trusted the history, but what if the most famous trucks in America just betrayed you? They were built up as icons of strength. Chevy, Ram, Toyota, Nissan, Ford. Millions bought in, believing they were safe. But now the truth is leaking out. Under the hood, hidden flaws are already costing owners more than they ever imagined. And if you miss this warning, you could be the next one left stranded. So which trucks are breaking down? Why are repair bills skyrocketing? And how many drivers are about to lose everything they put into these rigs? Chevrolet Silverado 1500. When men and women picture a classic American pickup, many instantly imagine the Chevrolet Silverado. During the late 2000 decade and the early 2010 decade, the Silverado 1500, with the 5.3-liter V8, appeared on every street, construction yard, and farm. It promised strength, capability, and longevity. The truck was sold in staggering numbers, and buyers trusted the bow tie emblem. Yet hidden inside this seemingly dependable workhorse lurked one of General Motors' most controversial engineering experiments, the active fuel management system. On glossy brochures, the system sounded brilliant. By shutting off 4 cylinders when the driver did not require full power, Chevrolet claimed owners would save fuel without sacrificing strength. Unfortunately, the dream unraveled quickly in real-world driving. Hydraulic lifters collapsed, lubrication pressure fluctuated, and engines began to produce a rhythmic ticking that resembled an old-fashioned sewing machine. For proud truck owners, the noise was more than irritating. It signaled mechanical failure that could lead to catastrophic expenses. Consider the experience of many drivers who purchased a Silverado from model years 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, or 2013. At first, the trucks felt rock solid. Families towed campers, contractors hauled lumber, and ranchers carried feed. But then came the dreaded symptoms. Oil consumption soared. Drivers reported adding a quart of oil every few hundred miles. Spark plugs fouled prematurely, misfire codes appeared on diagnostic scanners, and the check engine light glowed constantly. Engines stumbled at idle, power dipped during acceleration, and performance dropped. Mechanics eventually traced these problems back to the active fuel management system. Each time the cylinders switched between active and inactive states, the lifters suffered abnormal stress. The constant on and off cycle chewed through delicate components and created uneven wear across the valve train. Instead of improving efficiency, the system often reduced longevity. Repair bills became legendary. Replacing lifters and camshafts easily reached costs between $3,000 and $7,000. If owners ignored the symptoms, the cascading damage spread. Metal fragments from failing lifters circulated through oil passages, scarring bearings and journals. At that point, rebuilding the engine was rarely practical. Replacement engines often cost $15,000 or even more when factoring in labor and additional parts. Some owners tried to bypass the active fuel management system with aftermarket kits, hoping to disable the problematic technology. Yet this created fresh complications. Warranty coverage vanished, software conflicts arose, and in some cases the modifications caused further mechanical instability. The tragedy is that the Silverado brand itself remained respected. Outside of the active fuel management fiasco, these trucks offered comfortable cabins, strong towing capacity, and classic styling. Resale values, however, plummeted once buyers caught wind of the mechanical risks. Today, in 2025, used Silverados from these model years can appear tempting on dealer lots. Prices are suspiciously low compared to rivals. That bargain tag hides a costly truth. Owners might inherit a ticking time bomb that could devour savings faster than gasoline at full throttle. To add insult to injury, Consumer Reports and other watchdog groups consistently flagged reliability scores for these trucks as below average during those years. Buyers who once expected bulletproof performance felt betrayed. Many loyal Chevrolet customers who had purchased Silverados for decades swore off the brand entirely after suffering through repeated repairs. The bitterness spread across online forums, owner clubs, and even family gatherings where truck debates are as heated as politics. Few topics unite mechanics and drivers faster than frustration with the 5.3-liter active fuel management engines. Yet fairness requires perspective. Beginning with model year 2016, General Motors revised the cylinder deactivation technology significantly. The latest generations of Silverado no longer suffer from the same lifter collapse epidemic. In fact, modern versions have regained a reputation for durability. This distinction is critical. Not every Silverado is cursed, but the trucks produced between 2007 and 2013 remain infamous. Anyone scanning classified ads or walking through a used car lot should memorize those years. That knowledge alone could prevent a financial ambush. So picture yourself in front of a dealership sign, staring at a Silverado that looks rugged, shiny, and perfectly priced. Before shaking hands or signing papers, pause and ask a simple question. What year is this truck? And what engine does it have? If the answer includes the words 5.3-liter active fuel management from 2007 through 2013, turn away immediately. Protect your wallet, your time, and your sanity. Many hardworking Americans already paid the price of trusting these engines. Their cautionary stories echo through mechanic shops across the country. If Chevrolet's gamble with cylinder deactivation left countless wallets bleeding, the thunderous Hemi power of Ram brought a different kind of heartbreak that still echoes today. If you've made it this far, you're clearly serious about protecting your wallet from these truck disasters. Do me a favor, hit that like button so more drivers can see this warning, and drop a comment below. Have you owned one of these pickups? Your story could save someone else thousands. Ram 1500. Across America, few sounds stir the soul like the throaty rumble of a Hemi. For decades, Ram marketed the Hemi 5.8 as the heart of its half-ton trucks, promising muscle car power in a pickup body. Buyers lined up, drawn by heritage stretching back to the 1950s, when Chrysler engineers first unveiled hemispherical combustion chambers. By the 2010s, advertisements celebrated the Ram 1500 with cinematic flair, convincing drivers that a Hemi meant unstoppable confidence on highways, work sites, and rural backroads. On paper, it looked like the perfect marriage of tradition and modern performance. In practice, the story turned far darker, and thousands of owners discovered that the Hemi's roar often disguised a mechanical death rattle. The notorious Hemi tick became the symbol of disappointment. Drivers who once reveled in a smooth idle suddenly heard metallic tapping under the hood. That ticking was not harmless background noise. It signaled failing lifters grinding themselves apart. Once the tick began, repair bills followed relentlessly. Lifter and camshaft replacement typically drained $4,000 to $6,000, but if damage spread deeper, costs ballooned to well over $10,000. Add in downtime, rental cars, and lost wages for working men who depended on their trucks, and the burden became crushing. The supposed symbol of power transformed into a liability that emptied bank accounts. The problems did not end with lifters. Exhaust manifolds, engineered from lightweight alloys, cracked under constant heat cycles. When that happened, owners heard sharp chuffing noises like a tractor, while dangerous fumes seeped near the cabin. Replacing both manifolds often required $2,000 to $3,000, and some units failed more than once. Oil leaks sprouted from valve cover gaskets and oil pans, coating garage floors and driveways in grimy puddles. Meanwhile, the advanced 8-speed automatic transmission, marketed as smoother and more efficient, stumbled into jerky shifts, hesitation, and even outright failures. Rebuilding or replacing those gearboxes consumed $5,000 to $8,000, and mechanics could not always guarantee permanent solutions. Modernization played a cruel role. To satisfy stricter emissions regulations, engineers added the multi-displacement system, designed to deactivate cylinders during light loads. Unfortunately, that technology accelerated wear and aggravated the infamous tick. Electrical components such as ignition coils and fuel pumps also faltered prematurely. Some pumps quit without warning, stranding families on highways or towing contractors' trailers to the shoulder. Online communities grew rapidly, with Facebook groups and internet forums filled with frustrated Ram owners trading horror stories and desperate repair tips. For many, the dream of owning a mighty Hemi turned into endless cycles of breakdowns. The impact rippled beyond individual wallets. Used values for affected Ram 1500s tumbled once word spread. Dealers struggled to offload stock, offering deep discounts that masked potential repair nightmares. Loyalists who had sworn by Chrysler products for generations reluctantly jumped ship to competitors. Even Ram's own leadership eventually accepted the truth. In 2024, the company announced the discontinuation of Hemi production for its mainstream trucks, pivoting toward the new turbocharged inline-six called the Hurricane. Industry insiders interpreted that move as an admission. After years of attempts, Stellantis could not tame the reliability demons haunting the Hemi. Yet the tale twisted again when executives later revealed that a revised Hemi would return in model year 2026, aiming to redeem its reputation. For anyone considering a used Ram from model years 2013 through 2020, Caution is paramount. Listen closely for ticking on cold starts. Inspect service records for repeated manifold or lifter repairs. Budget a healthy emergency fund, because even well-maintained trucks can spring fresh issues without warning. Enthusiasts may love the intoxicating sound and feel of the Hemi, but romance alone cannot shield a wallet from reality. In the used market of 2025, a suspiciously cheap Ram 1500 may conceal financial landmines waiting to explode. Every truck brand has its dark chapters, but the Ram Hemi years stand out because of the cruel contrast between image and reality. The advertisements promised strength, reliability, and tradition. The reality delivered frustration, expense, and betrayal. The lesson is clear: never assume heritage guarantees durability. Research, inspection, and skepticism are the true tools of a smart buyer. And while the Hemi's thunder rattled wallets across America, Toyota's supposedly indestructible Hilux revealed cracks in its armor that stunned loyal fans worldwide. Toyota Hilux. Legends are not supposed to fall, yet even the mighty Toyota Hilux stumbled when this modern generation arrived. For decades, the Hilux earned global fame as the indestructible pickup, starring in television specials where it survived abuse that would have killed lesser machines. Farmers, soldiers, and explorers across continents relied on it to carry loads, cross deserts, and haul through jungles. Its reputation for bulletproof reliability became almost mythical. That is why the disappointment of the 2016 through 2020 turbo diesel models struck owners so hard. They expected unstoppable grit, but instead met fragile technology that cost fortunes to repair. The 2.8-liter turbocharged diesel engine looked like a perfect balance of power and efficiency, but under the surface it revealed design flaws that left customers frustrated, stranded, and lighter in the wallet. One of the most notorious issues involved the diesel fuel injectors. In these Hilux trucks, injectors often failed prematurely, causing rough, idle, black smoke and knocking noises. A single injector replacement could swallow more than $2,000, and when several failed together, bills soared dramatically. Worse still, faulty injectors contributed to catastrophic head gasket failures. Once coolant mixed with combustion gases, engines overheated, warped cylinder heads, and sometimes cracked beyond repair. A full rebuild of the turbo diesel easily crossed $10,000, erasing any savings buyers thought they secured with a used bargain. For rural drivers relying on the Hilux as a work partner, downtime meant missed harvests, lost contracts, and financial stress that extended far beyond the garage. The diesel particulate filter created major headaches. Designed for emissions, it needed high exhaust heat, but short trips and cool climates caused clogging. Blocked filters forced limp mode, slashing power dangerously. Replacements cost thousands, and repeated failures sparked lawsuits, with owners accusing Toyota of selling unreliable pickups. The turbocharger, a critical component in delivering promised torque, also developed a reputation for early breakdowns. Whining noises, oil leaks, and sudden power loss were common complaints. Replacing a failed turbocharger drained $3,000 to $5,000, and in some cases, multiple turbos failed over a truck's lifetime. Combined with the injector crises, head gasket issues, and filter blockages, the Hilux, once hailed as indestructible, began to look alarmingly fragile. The myth crumbled, and longtime Toyota loyalists felt betrayed. Adding insult to injury, resale values tumbled. Traditionally, Hilux trucks held value better than nearly any competitor, but buyers in 2025 approach these model years with suspicion. Dealers whisper warnings, mechanics shake their heads, and online classifieds show prices suspiciously low. What appears at first to be a deal can easily transform into a financial ambush. Even careful owners with complete service histories cannot escape the shadow of reputation. Potential buyers ask one question first: is this the 2.8-liter turbo diesel? If the answer is yes, negotiations often end before they begin. The larger lesson hidden in this chapter of Hilux history is clear. No brand, not even one with decades of dominance, is immune from flawed design. Toyota's engineers may have aimed for efficiency and compliance with strict regulations, but the execution undermined the heritage of toughness. For hardworking drivers, the fallout was painful. Many who once swore they would never own anything but a Hilux traded keys for rival brands like Ford Ranger or Isuzu D-Max, simply because they needed a truck they could trust daily. In fairness, Toyota has responded in later years with updated injectors, improved cooling systems, and revised emission strategies. Newer Hilux generations appear to have regained some of the old resilience. Still, the model years between 2016 and 2020 remain etched in memory as the years when the unbreakable finally broke. Anyone searching the used market must keep this time frame carved into their minds, because forgetting could mean inheriting a nightmare of endless repairs. And if the fall of Toyota's icon surprised the world, the next disaster came from Nissan's bold attempt to blend Cummins diesel power with Japanese styling, a gamble that left owners facing even harsher realities. Nissan Titan XD. Bold promises can lure even cautious buyers, and that was exactly the case when Nissan introduced the Titan XD with its 5.0-liter Cummins turbocharged diesel engine. On launch day, advertisements painted the truck as a revolutionary middle ground between half-ton pickups and full heavy-duty machines. Nissan executives claimed that the XD would give working Americans the towing muscle they needed without the bulk of a massive 3/4-ton truck. The badge carried the Cummins name, a brand respected for decades in diesel culture, and buyers expected bulletproof durability. But soon after release, cracks appeared in the foundation of that promise. Instead of a groundbreaking workhorse, owners discovered what many mechanics now call a Frankenstein's monster of engineering. The Cummins power plant was originally designed for European emission standards, and Nissan's attempt to retrofit it for American regulations created a complex system riddled with weaknesses that constantly left drivers stranded and wallets drained. One of the most frequent nightmares came from the exhaust gas recirculation system. The idea was simple: recirculate exhaust gases to reduce emissions. In practice, the system clogged relentlessly, suffocating performance and leaving drivers crawling at dangerously low power. Once clogged, the truck often slipped into limp mode, limiting speeds to around 65 miles per hour, which felt humiliating on an open highway. Repairs for a failed exhaust gas recirculation system routinely surpassed $3,000, and repeat failures were common. Alongside that, the diesel particulate filter and selective catalytic reduction components frequently collapsed. When the diesel exhaust fluid system quit, the Titan XD literally transformed into a 3-ton paperweight that refused to operate. Many owners experienced complete shutdowns in the middle of workdays, forcing expensive tow bills and missed opportunities. The turbocharger, often praised as the heart of any diesel, also proved unreliable. Numerous reports describe turbos failing before 80,000 miles, with catastrophic results. When the turbo disintegrated, metal fragments spread throughout the intake, damaging additional components and requiring replacements costing $4,000 or more. Add in the constant need for new nitrogen oxide sensors, each one costing nearly $2,000, and ownership quickly felt like burning money. Cooling system leaks, another notorious flaw, added insult to injury. Cracked radiators and failed hoses left drivers stranded at job sites, steam rising from underhoods that once symbolized strength. Repair totals grew staggering. An emissions overhaul combined with the turbo replacement could surpass $15,000. A shocking sum for a truck often purchased as a practical tool. The cruel twist was that even after such investments, many Titan XDs still suffered repeat issues. Some mechanics admitted they lacked adequate training to service the unusual setup correctly, sending owners back into endless cycles of shop visits. The frustration mounted as drivers who thought they were buying dependable diesels faced the reality of trucks spending more time on lifts than on highways. Resale values collapsed by 2025. Dealers pushed gasoline Titans with heavy discounts on diesels. Listings showed Titan XDs selling cheap, buyers wary of hidden issues. Forums overflowed with owners dumping trucks for pennies. Nissan loyalists and Cummins fans alike felt betrayed by the failed partnership. To be fair, the gasoline-powered Titan models from the same years do not suffer from these specific issues. Many of those trucks remain reliable choices with far fewer complaints. The disaster centers specifically on the diesel-equipped Titan XD. Nissan's experiments to carve out a unique niche backfired, becoming a cautionary tale repeated by mechanics and consumer advocates. When prospective buyers ask for advice today, most professionals deliver the same blunt verdict: avoid the diesel XD at all costs. For anyone still tempted by the idea of Cummins branding, remember that a badge alone does not guarantee dependability. The Nissan Titan XD diesel looked strong on paper, but in the real world, it became an expensive gamble. Always research not just the manufacturer, but the exact engine and years before committing to a purchase. And while Nissan's diesel experiment collapsed under the weight of its own complexity, Ford's best-selling F-150 faced an even greater storm when its first-generation EcoBoost engines began failing spectacularly. Before we reveal the worst offender, now's the perfect time to join our community. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss another insider breakdown on trucks, cars, and hidden money traps. One click keeps you ahead of costly mistakes. And believe me, what's coming next is something you cannot afford to miss. Ford F-150. The crown jewel of American truck sales turned into a cautionary tale when Ford unveiled its first-generation EcoBoost engines inside the nation's favorite pickup. At launch, around the year 2011, marketing promised a revolution. V6 displacement paired with twin turbochargers would deliver V8 levels of power while sipping fuel more efficiently. Television commercials showed the Ford F-150 hauling trailers, conquering muddy job sites, and blasting past rivals with confidence. Millions of buyers believed the hype. They expected the 3.5-liter EcoBoost to carry the same durability that made Ford the king of the truck market. Yet as years rolled by, reality painted a harsher picture. The early EcoBoost power plants developed a pattern of failures that transformed excitement into frustration, leaving countless owners with bruised bank accounts and shaken faith in the blue oval. The timing chain became one of the most infamous weak points. Owners reported stretching and rattling chains, especially in trucks from model years 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. When the chain stretched, camshaft timing slipped, engine stumbled, and check engine lights illuminated. Repairs required extensive labor, often demanding mechanics to disassemble large portions of the engine bay. Bills easily climbed to $6,000 or more, and in some cases the problem reappeared even after service. The sound of cold start rattles haunted drivers who thought they had purchased bulletproof engines. Carbon buildup plagued the first-generation EcoBoost. With only direct fuel injection, gasoline never cleaned intake valves. Deposits accumulated over time, choking airflow and causing sluggish acceleration, misfires, and poor efficiency. Walnut blasting or chemical cleanings cost $800 to $1,200 repeatedly. Moisture within the intercooler caused yet another wave of problems. In humid climates, condensation pooled inside the intercooler, then surged into cylinders during acceleration. Drivers reported sudden loss of power on highways, terrifying stumbles during passing maneuvers, and occasional stalling. Ford released technical service bulletins, but fixes were inconsistent. Replacing or upgrading intercoolers cost between $1,500 and $2,500, a steep price for a supposed technological advancement. The twin turbochargers themselves, while thrilling when new, often failed prematurely. Inadequate lubrication or oil contamination led to whines, smoke, and complete turbo failure. Replacement of both turbos frequently exceeded $7,000, a shocking expense when combined with timing chain or carbon cleaning jobs. Ignition coils and spark plugs, stressed by higher cylinder pressures, wore out quickly, leaving owners juggling constant misfire repairs. The picture became clear. The first-generation EcoBoost did not represent cutting-edge strength, but rather a costly experiment conducted on loyal Ford customers. What stings more is the timing of failures. Many issues surfaced shortly after warranties expired. Drivers who had trusted Ford's reputation found themselves holding invoices for $15,000 to $20,000 engine replacements. Internet forums filled with furious owners accusing the company of ignoring complaints until regulators forced attention. Indeed, by the year 2024, Ford faced a recall of over 90,000 vehicles, particularly newer 2021 and 2022 models with nano-series EcoBoost engines due to brittle intake valves. While technically involving later years, the headline reinforced a perception. EcoBoost technology carried reliability risks that stretched back to its earliest generation. Not every truck failed, and some careful owners achieved respectable mileage. Still, the widespread pattern of timing chain stretch, intercooler condensation, carbon buildup, turbo failure, and ignition struggles meant risk was unavoidable. Resale markets reacted accordingly. By 2025, used first-generation EcoBoost F-150 trucks often sat unsold or commanded suspiciously low prices. Savvy buyers recognized that what looked like a deal might conceal a financial avalanche waiting to collapse. Mechanics, when asked for advice, often deliver blunt counsel. Unless you have deep reserves of cash and patience, Walk away from those years. Ford did learn lessons. Beginning with model year 2017, the second-generation EcoBoost incorporated both direct and port fuel injection, stronger timing components, and improved lubrication. Reliability improved substantially, though the reputation damage remained. The tale of the first-generation EcoBoost serves as a reminder that innovation, without sufficient testing, can betray even the most loyal customers. And with the countdown complete, one truth stands tall. Every brand, from Chevrolet to Ram to Toyota to Nissan, and even Ford itself, has stumbled. For buyers in 2025, the smartest move is research, patience, and refusing to be blinded by marketing promises. You've now seen the 5 pickups that are draining wallets and leaving owners stranded in 2025. The choice is yours. Walk in prepared or pay the price later. If this video helped you, hit like to spread the word and drop a comment with your own truck story. I read them all, and your experience could save someone else thousands. Most importantly, subscribe right now and ring the bell. Every week I uncover the hidden traps dealers don't want you to know. Stay sharp, stay informed, and never let a bad truck ruin your future.